we deal with this challenge. I don't know, is the camera picking up our feet, Heath?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great.
These chairs are very rolly.
Very rolly.
Very rolly.
They're holy rollers.
They are holy rolling chairs. And I can't reach, and so
I don't even come close.
when I sit down to preach, the first few seconds are just, who knows what's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
I think I end up preaching leaning forward. You said you don't like that.
I don't like leaning forward like this, and so
Too intense.
yeah, the moment of truth is just the jump up here. I'm wondering how far I'm going to roll back.
It's an act of faith.
Am I going to hit the piano? Is Deshay going to be mad at me?
Sitting there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Spinning out.
Right.
So we feel like a turtle on their back, kind
The
of.
beetle.
Yeah. If you're wondering what's going through our mind, that first moment of the sermon.
There it is. And the second thing, I don't even know if we should do this or not, but so Austin has this amazing sound. I don't know if it's going to come through the microphone. It's a really good camp trick, but you got it. It's really good. I mean, it's really well done.
Beautiful. You could market that. You could sell that as a sample for movies.
Ooh, here's an idea.
If this whole church thing doesn't work out, you've got a future.
If I roll back too far and hit the piano, Deshay gets mad at me, then I've got a future in cricket sounds for films.
So then Amy said, "Oh, I've got an animal sound too." And right then Heath was like, "Okay, we're gonna go live now." So and Amy had taken a deep breath and was preparing herself. We thought
I had to sit her down and dig deep to find my inner chicken.
Oh no.
Oh, this is a good feature.
And you know what? This is actually an embodiment of vulnerability, which is something I talk a lot about, because nobody looks good imitating a chicken. And so I'm trusting, friends, that you will hold this with me and not use it against me, okay? Because this is vulnerable.
This is a video, and you understand, like, this is
This
gonna
is
be
on-
For all
This is
of
the
you,
world.
I know. Jeez Louise. Okay. Really, this is my imitation of a chicken laying an egg, which I realized once I had chickens, they have to do this every day. A giant egg. Okay. She's asleep. And then it's time to lay the egg.
That was beautiful.
Oh, this is high quality faith teaching that we're providing today. Yeah.
I witnessed that actual sound out of many a chicken.
All right.
Poor girls.
Deshay, Pastor Deshay was, maybe still is, planning to join us. When Deshay gets here, I'll move over. And I'm very sorry Deshay missed that.
Well, it'll be there.
If Deshay can go back and say it.
Literally forever.
All right. Well, so I had two stories to open with. One of which is more serious than the other one. I think the first one, though, aligns pretty well with the tone of the conversation so far today. This story was shared this morning at our men's prayer group, which, by the way, meets at, well, it's hard to say what time. The devotional prayer time starts at 7:30. I'm almost always the last one there, and I get there about 7:15, 7:20. Most, I would say, we kind of list 7 o'clock, I think, on the website. I think Kenny's here by 6, because he's putting coffee on. But anyway, come check it out. It's a great group of fellas, and everybody's welcome, 7-ish on Wednesday morning. But anyway, this morning, Terry Kenny, who is always, by the way, prepared with something like this. It's maybe a good thing for all of us to know, okay? But at the end of the conversation, Terry said, I need to tell y'all a story. And by the way, Terry Kenny, member of this church, former rocket scientist for NASA, okay? Literally, right? We use that as a joke. Literally rocket scientist. Terry said, there was a little boy that swallowed a handful of Scrabble tiles. And his mother was very concerned that a bowel movement would spell disaster
have to go over to the Jones and do a rim shot.
There it is. Okay.
That's good stuff.
Here's a really meaningful story, actually. I got an email from Don Tatlock yesterday. And Don, longtime member of this church, and Don's been a minister all his life. You know, he's one of those people, and Don comes from a ministry family. Tat, his father, Jan, his mother, they were engaged in various forms of ministry throughout their lives, overseas mission work. And Don spent several years working with, okay, now I got to make sure I get this right, not DMF, help me out.
Overseas missions?
No, the disaster relief.
Week of Compassion?
Week of Compassion. And I'm sorry if I got that wrong, Don. I will double check that and clear it up next week if I don't have that right. In any case, Don's been doing ministry for years. Don made the decision a couple of years ago that he wanted to go back and get formal theological education and transition into another kind of ministry. And got an email from Don that his ordination, which was planned for May, and of course didn't happen in the context of COVID, is going to happen soon. It's going to be online, which is kind of neat because everybody that wants to be a part of it can be. It's going to be at South Hills Christian Church. I need to check the date and the time, but I will get that to you to make sure that if you want to check in and celebrate that with Don and his family, that you can do that. So Don graduated, he'll be ordained, and that's yay for Don, right? Here's the other piece of news that I think is really exciting. Don, as of this past week, officially has been hired to be full-time chaplain at John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth. And y'all, that's ministry.
Yeah, it is.
That is
in the trenches. Real
ministry in the trenches. JPS, I think, experiences a lot of extreme trauma cases and stuff, so it's a place that kind of ministry and people like Don with that gift are really needed. And so we celebrate that with you, Don.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty. Questions. I brought some questions this week for the team. Yes.
I just sure who this is, but there's a little comment from YouTube.
This is Megan. Megan says, "Hi friends, miss y'all. I needed this." Maybe we all needed this.
Yes.
Which part specifically did you need, Megan?
Definitely
The chicken noise.
The chicken noise. All right. Here's first question, and this is one that people have been asking me, and I think we've been asking each other. People have also asked me this, and maybe have asked you this about the team as a whole. The question is a simple one, and it's just, how are you? I think people are wondering, how are you, Austin? How are you, Amy? And I think they mean that not just in the sort of passing in the hallway, I'm fine sense, but in the deepest sense of the word, the question. Austin, how are you?
I'm up first.
Go for it.
I am good. I think that right now, in the midst of like the crazy weirdness of life, we've kind of hit a spot where we're able to settle a little bit in our house, and that's been nice. I'm ready for some more social interaction, but I think everybody is, right? Overall, I'm really good. I think it's been a weird time, and I think a lot of it has been grieving and lamenting about things that we've lost in this season. And I've really been trying to focus on some of the ways that I can flip that, and like the ways that COVID has flipped our expectations of what we expect from each other, what we expect from our church and our faith, what we expect from our God. And those have all been questions that have been running through my mind and have helped me kind of lean into a place of just being and settling. And I think that's kind of where I am. I'm good. Not super great, right? Like, things are still real weird, and there's a lot of stuff that's not great in the world, and that's a crappy feeling. But I think that I'm at a place where I'm settling in the tension, and that feels good. Yeah.
Thanks. Let's see. I'm hopeful, yeah. And when I say that word, I kind of wonder what people hear. If what I mean is what people think it means. I don't know. That's this interesting thing about human interaction, is we never know if what we're saying is landing the way we intended. So let me explain what I mean. I am hopeful that love will persist. I am hopeful that people are basically good. I'm hopeful that the ground of my being is in God, and that connects me to you, and you, and you, and to everyone else. So, in that way, I'm able to navigate a little more, hopefully, other things. And I hold that sort of alongside this notion that there's tremendous suffering and anxiety in the world, and that my tendency is usually to want to fix that somehow, to do something, take action. But today we started this new prayer time. It was going to be outside on our labyrinth. We have a beautiful outdoor labyrinth. And we're still going to hold that time on Wednesdays at 9 for anyone who wants to come. But it's raining a lot. We're catching up for the last 6 weeks of hot, dry Texas summer. So we came inside the sanctuary, and a few of us were here just spaced out a lot. It's a good space for that. And we did just quiet contemplative prayer. And the phrase that kept coming to me was, there's nowhere to get. Okay? And after I sat with that for a while and tried to just accept it, something in me sort of flipped it, because that's another tendency I have, is what is the opposite, and can that also be true? And so for me, the opposite of that was everything is being. From nothing and nowhere to everything, and then from getting to being. And then I heard the echo of another name for God in Scripture. I am that I am. And so I'm hopeful in that too, that just in my being, there's enough love and enough hope.
There's a song kind of like that.
A lot. Which one are you thinking of?
What enough love?
Oh, in this very room. Yeah.
In this very room.
Justin, how are you?
Thank you for asking. I am, I feel maybe kind of a surprising steadiness right now, you know? I think this season in many ways has been such a roller coaster, you know, and that has related to several things. I mean, I think societally, you know, just in terms of direction of our congregational plans, you know, we were preparing at one point a couple of months ago to move into, you know, having worship in our sanctuary, having congregants in our sanctuary, and then we had a spike in COVID numbers, and then also just personally, you know, toddlers aren't steady. There are, you know, pretty, you know, noticeable ups and downs in their rhythms in their life, and so there has been this sort of roller coaster experience happening for all of us, and I think what's been a blessing for me is I've found myself. I don't want to say that's kind of been averaged out or flattened for me, but I think something about being aware so frequently and constantly of all of these poles that are happening has kind of drawn me into the center. And that through that I have found, I've experienced a groundedness that I might not have expected in the midst of that roller coaster ride. Hello! hello, come join us. We have a seat for you. You've missed some fun. I'm saddened that.
Be careful when you sit, because it'll roll back.
That-
Say that fast.
Is this not Walmart? Do we not get rollbacks?
I think we could probably repeat without any explanation the 10 seconds of this time that I'm most sorry that you've missed. Can we do this one more time? Can we do it one more time?
You're asking me to summon
We all have to-
something.
We have to create space for this.
All right. I really love y'all. That's what I'm going to say.
Here we go.
This is for you to say my imitation of
No. Okay.
Oh.
I just wanted you to do it.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll just do it.
Somehow just made it as amazing as seconds up.
Yes.
Your timing's actually perfect because so I brought some questions today. We decided what we're going to do going forward is maybe take turns bringing questions to this time.
Okay. Sorry, I want to get that short.
But the first question I brought was, how are you? And the three of us have just talked about that. So, and our congregation has been asking this of us too. How are you, Deshae Jackson, in the deepest sense of the question?
In the deepest sense, I'm going to actually go on the superficial sense first. We can go through the layers of the dermis. Superficially, like physically, I'm well enough. I can walk, I eat all, like, hygiene-wise, great. Like, you're not gonna see me with messed up hair. Lord knows, if it doesn't look like this or in some shape, it will be covered. It's like, and we don't have to worry about eating. I've been good at that for a while. So, physically, relatively well. Mentally, this is fun. And by saying fun, I mean interesting. Because it is week 2 of Bright Divinity being on online, which, now mind you, I love my professor, Dr. Oluwatomisin Ordain. She is our director of Black Church Studies, and I have ethics and African migrant identity with her. And those conversations are, I think the term is Socratic. There's a lot of just conversation. It is lovely, and I'm like, oh, I actually know something by now. So like mentally, it's the plus is that I actually feel like in my 3rd year of this program, I actually know what I'm saying now. But the other mental side of that is I'm in 4 classes, and sadly, one of them has not really changed. It's just been extra work. Sometimes I'm a bit tired, and I'm a bit up.
So you say fun, by which you mean interesting, by which you really mean
Questionable.
That was separate layers, you're right.
yeah.
I told you. There, I was like, that's how the skin works.
Indeed.
It
Indeed
occurs to
does.
me that we did not explain Deshae's role here at the church.
Oh, should I do that?
I would love to. Can I say this though? This is once we were talking about. Austin was talking about lament and joy and how those things interact in strange ways, sometimes surprising ways. One of the things that I lament about this season is that you started here serving with us on what day? You remember February
The official day is February 15th. When I first came to you all was the 9th. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. The first Sunday was the 9th. The first rehearsal was like the 5th or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's multiple layers of that one too.
So Deshae's our minister of music, and I'll let you talk about what that is. But the source of lament for me, we have bulletins still sitting out there on the table in the narthex outside of our sanctuary that are orders of worship for March 15th. And what that means is that a lot of our people, most of our people, don't really know you. I mean, they started maybe to kind of meet you and get to know you, and you them, vice versa.
Yeah.
And of course, there's been engagement, some online, phone, whatever, over the past couple of months. But you haven't had the chance to get to know the people of this congregation and this community as much as we all would have hoped, and vice versa. They haven't gotten to know you as well. And I lament that. And I do look forward to that day when that can begin to happen again in earnest. But talk about your ministry with us here.
So, this is also a very weird thing. I'm actually getting to look at you all, or do I have to look at that thing?
Both.
Okay, yeah. People, by all means, the thing is the camera, not you. You are fearfully, wonderfully created and made. Anyway.
Amen.
Now then.
For the record.
So originally my position as Minister of Music encompassed the fact that I was the director of the choir, I was the pianist for both the praise band and the choir, and I helped to select music for what was originally our 11 a.m. traditional service. During those times, it's kind of a hodgepodge of things, because when you attach minister to it, there's a pastoral side of it that you have to go into.
Yes.
So some of that pastoral nature is, I do visits, either it can be Zoom or it's like in distance. What else was it? I was working in collaboration with Russell, not so much with the praise band, like picking music, but it was just like, hey, if you need me to do this, I can do this for you.
Yeah,
exactly. So it was just figuring that out. That was my position in the beginning. And just like any creation in the divine, it is always made new in different ways.
Amen.
So, needless to say, still minister of music, and affectionately and teasingly called Mom. If you go in the choir room, it says Mom. It doesn't say minister of music. It's now.
I just got it.
I cried. I was like, there you go. We've got some lovely, lovely people here that love teas, and I'm here for it. But my position has shifted now, in the sense that now, with the blending of the traditional and the contemporary, it is that whole thing of co-laboring, or the collaboration that we really hit on when I first came here, was that whole idea. And so now my position works in partnership with the praise band director. Still find it weird that every time I look at the bulletin, it's praise band and me. I'm like, I want to be in there.
We can do that.
I was like, I think I get it because of blending these things. But so I still play piano, but now now more of my work is dealing with how arranging works in music. So being able to trying to seamlessly weave everything together. And as you can see, sometimes like our text, sometimes people like to weave parts of the text together to think they can write in a certain way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes we have an idea of what our voice is, and then sometimes we have an idea of what our voice is not. So there's, my job includes holy experimentation, just like our page. That is some of what my position is right now. It's expanding more into things like handbell director. That'll be added to that. This position is just growing, so whatever I say now might change within a day or an hour.
And I would argue that there is still a level at which you're doing exactly the job that we hired you for, which is minister to us and to the people of this community, and particularly leveraging the power and the gift of sacred music to help us grow in faith, right? And whatever the format is or the location of that, you're doing that, you're doing it beautifully, and we appreciate that. And I hope someday, I know you've been speaking with choir members. I have to, they lament that we're not able to do that right now. I think there continues to be an understanding of the complexity and the challenge of doing that, but I do hope for a day when that's going to be possible again too.
Absolutely. I truly do miss it.
It looks like we have another question from a
You
viewer.
have your Facebook up there? It
Yeah.
looks like Jody Peters, apparently from Wisconsin, just asked where we're at.
Oh, hi, Jody.
Where are we located?
Oh, where's the, physically?
I think she means Granbury, Texas.
Yeah, we are in,
That could be a loaded question.
I was like,
we're in Granbury, Texas. Deshay and Austin actually know where that is better than anybody, because they literally are driving back and forth from where they live. But it is, we're about 30, 40 minutes southwest of Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Next door to Tractor Supply on Highway 377 on the west side of town as you head through town towards Stephenville. Where are we spiritually?
all right.
We actually, it'd be a great question. I don't know that we have time if we're...
That conversation.
That is a longer conversation, one that I'd be happy to have with you, Jody, if you want to talk about that. We could get on the phone.
Yeah.
Maybe we could think about that between now and next week too, and think about how to speak to that in ways that fit within the time frame that we have here.
Yeah. It's a great conversation.
Tell me if Jody responds to that.
I will.
Ask anything else. In the meantime, time for one more question.
Oh, wait, we have, well,
Nope.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
few, Megan says, Rogan says that he knows you and you play great piano.
Oh.
How old is Rogan now?
5?
5?
5?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Megan will tell us.
Yeah.
And Bryson's
3.
4, 3, 4?
3 or 4. Yeah. It's weird because when you don't see these kids every week,
No.
I picture them the way they were 6 months ago, but a little Charlotte, the youngest, or Scarlett, I mean, the youngest is almost 2. And I still picture her as a 6-month-old. Yeah. Time
Difference.
Yeah.
in those little lives goes, it's very different. Yeah. We don't change that much in 6 months.
No, after 25, 30 years, it kind of
Yeah.
slows down.
Except the last 6 months. Again, maybe not physically so much, but
Right. Yes. I have not
My hair's growing.
I've grown this way. I may have grown a little this way. I've grown spiritually. Yeah.
She says 6, Bryson is 4, Scarlett is almost 2. Yeah.
There we go. 2, 4, 6.
Someone named Valerie says I love you and then clarifies.
Oh yeah, that's
talking
my
about
mom.
Austin. Yeah.
oh,
Me too, mom. Love
Hi,
you.
Mom.
hi mom.
That's pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
That's all. That's all.
That's all you got?
As you were.
All right, last question then. And I'll go first since this may be one you kind of need to think about for a second. Share with us, share with everybody watching a story from the last month or two of something that you have seen through the life of this congregation that has given you hope and that has embodied perhaps the fact that God is still at work, and maybe God is especially at work right now in the midst of these messy, broken times.
Can I go first, Ab?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So this has happened multiple times, I think, throughout the 6 months. But I think the thing that gives me the greatest hope in this time is to watch Hudson, who is my little 4-year-old, when either I'm on a meeting or Jordan's talking to somebody else from the church who has kids, and those kids jump on the other side of the screen, and Hudson immediately, there's my friend. I miss them. I want to see them. And first of all, it breaks my heart. But this idea that our kids are seeing each other and saying, I want that. I want to be there with them. And it just gives me this immense amount of hope for a world in which people will reach out and say, I want to be with them. Mm-hmm. I want to be a person who is in relationship and who cares deeply about other people, so deeply that I don't care how I look on the other side of a screen saying, it's my friend! Mm-hmm. And that's hopeful for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's happened multiple times, and every time it's just beautiful.
It is. I got to see it one time.
Yes, on staff meeting.
And I cried. It was so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. What else? Whose turn? I have one.
I was like, well, yeah, you go.
Okay. Last Wednesday, so a week ago, we had a hymn sing down on the square, and Deshae played piano, and my husband Christian played guitar, and we just handed out these little songbooks, and it was great because there were over 30 church people there. It was outside. That was the only way we could do that safely, on an outdoor patio. And then there were other people from the community that were there hanging out, and some of them joined us, and we just called out songs and sang them from a place that has not been given voice much in the last 6 months. And there was so much joy and goofiness and just shared time that I didn't realize how much I needed until it was happening. And it was like this part of me that has been asleep kind of came online. And afterward, one of our church friends came up to me, John Pelham, and with a tear in his eye, he said, "Thank you, I needed that." And so finding creative ways to be together safely and share that time and sing at the top of our lungs and laugh and cry and just all the things can be really, really great. And so that has like buoyed me, sustained me for a good long while. And we're going to do it again the last Wednesday of September.
September 30th.
Thank you.
I do believe that's the last one. Yeah.
How about you today?
I do. Mine's actually been the last month because it's been. I don't know about you all, but the side of my ministry is I don't know. Music sometimes is draining and it's life giving. It is a constant relationship of tension and release, and so during this time I've just felt I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I've been playing so much more and singing so much more that I have in quite a few years.
It's interesting.
I was like, I made myself sing opera last night just to see if I could still do it. Slash, if we still have, I'm like, well, there's some kinks there, but I'll go through some. But what's really got me has been about three things. The first one is when our worship group, our worship group here, sang, oh gosh, it is well / through it all. It borrows from the hymn "It Is Well," and there is a portion when the whole group is just building up, and it is that line of "It is well, it is well," and sometimes hearing "It is well" is infuriating. And other times hearing "It is well" is the peace that passes all understanding. Mm-hmm. And within the hard work of being with this group and recognizing things that we've been through in a couple of months, hearing us blend in such beauty has given me energy. Between that one, we've been working on a new song, "As the Deer," and it's just like we're working. We are creating more of a sound that is the fingerprint of our current season. And working with that, and as the line is, as I pour out my soul, as deep within me, I pour out my soul, and I'm like, yep, no. I was like, oh yeah, well, I have been, but the difference in that is that as we poured out our soul, it also says to draw me near. The thing about pouring out is also, for some of us, it then means being a recluse, because I've given so much, now I have to back. And instead, now I'm called, not only do I then give, but I also keep moving myself forward, which is really good when you have like depression and anxiety. And that hymn saying just was what I needed for the community. My first one was supposed to play for the one at General Assembly in 2017 for Chalice Press when they were doing like their new hymnal stuff, and I was going to play, and then I got an opera contract in St. Louis and could not go. So the inaugural hymn and brew and hymns, that's giving me life.
And if you come, you might just see Deshay headbang to, what was it?
In the garden.
In the garden. It can be done.
It did. My hair does bounce now. And I love it.
I just didn't ever think of that as a headbanging song, but let me tell you, you pulled it off.
Did we record that? Did anybody even just with a phone?
No,
Or?
there's a portion on Carrie's Facebook, but it wasn't that part.
Okay.
Darn it.
Maybe next time. We don't need to ask Keith to do another thing.
Right.
Keith has enough on his plate, but even just like a FaceTime or something.
Yep.
Recording would be cool. And by the way, that As the Deer piece on Sunday.
Yep.
And you can go back and watch these. We live stream. We've been live streaming on Sunday mornings. And you can go back, fccgranbury.live. It's the piece right before the sermon this past Sunday.
And that's not
at
all.
10.
Yeah, and that's not all of it. It will come back with more.
Preview.
It's amazing. Just amazing.
That's great.
The one that occurs to me, you've talked about this, I think, in worship, but I think it bears repeating. It was our loaves and fishes moment.
I almost shared that one too.
Did you? Yeah. I loved it. It was so much fun because we had this Miracle Day planned in partnership with Ruth's Place Oak Trail Shores, Mia and Angelita out there, and the kids out there that we've been building a relationship with, and I know that they have blessed us at least as much as we've blessed anybody out there. But anyway, we had this miracle day in August, and we felt called to do something to honor moms. This has been a really hard season for a lot of people. It's been particularly hard for moms who, many of whom stayed home and who are with kids that were basically stuck at home all summer long. Some families with multiple kids. I think one household with 8 kids and a grandmother actually in this situation.
In a very small home.
In a very small home, and I know that there are some watching today that are aware of just how challenging this time has been and continues to be for moms. So the idea was, we can't, there's only so much we can do, but let's do the best we can, right? And let's try to share blessing with these moms. And so as a church family, people signed up to provide a really nice meal, a pre-prepared meal that would be easy for people to heat up or whatever and just serve, so that maybe moms would have 1 or 2, or in some cases, some people brought a lot of food. I mean, it might have been 3 or 4 nights worth not having to prepare. Yeah. By the way, have you seen the animated short Feast? My favorite animated short ever. Go back and watch it. Feast.
All right.
Beautiful. Won Academy Award for Best Animated Short, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Anyway, so a feast for families, and then we wanted to provide moms with a really nice spa kit. Thank you. And not just, we want it to be really nice, right? Not just a few little shampoos, something nice. And people from the church provided things. Some ordered some from Amazon. But we got in there that morning, and I think your plan had been, let's just kind of take all the stuff and put it together in baskets, and we could take it out to the moms. And we got in there, we looked at the table, and we thought, there's not enough here. We don't have enough stuff to put together. I think it was 15 different moms that we were going to be in a relationship with, and we just didn't have enough stuff to do 15 nice baskets. And so you were taking a class at that time, and you didn't have time to go to Walmart and shop. And so you said, you know what, we'll do it next week. We'll take the meals out this week, we'll go get more stuff, and we'll take the baskets next week. And then you went to class. Yep. Which was exactly where you should have been.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Carly Bold, who is Superwoman, and who we're blessed to have working with us in our office 2 days a week now. Yep. Comes into the gym and says, and I don't know anything about spa kits, okay? Maybe this is a flaw in me, a shortcoming in me. I couldn't really tell by looking. But Carly comes in and says, I think we can do this.
Oh.
Okay, now keep in mind, Amy has gone to class.
A secluded area.
Secluded area for class.
Cloistered nun.
And went into the cloistered space.
Beautiful space.
Assuming that we didn't have enough, and we would do this next week.
Oh, we have little faith.
And you came down during the break in your class.
2 hours later.
And you walked into the gym, and what did you see?
A miracle. I just immediately started crying because there were just tables of these beautiful, gigantic baskets full of amazing gifts for these women, and giant bows, and I had no idea how it had happened, how they had pulled it off, where it all came from. I don't know that I'd ever been so shocked by generosity in such just a quick turnaround like that. It was truly a miracle. And I think that's what I said to you. I said, oh, this is why we call them miracle days.
Yeah, it was. It was a real life manifestation of loaves and fishes, right?
Yes.
And it happened in 2 ways. And the fact that we know how it happened, to me, doesn't minimize the fact that it was a miracle, right?
Yeah.
But the 2 things that happened were, it turned out there was more stuff on those tables than we thought. Some of the items were small and they were packed into these bags. People had brought bags with lots of things, but you just couldn't tell how much was in there. But the second thing that happened was that Carly said, I think Whitney Pakanowski, another young woman who participates here, she's a teacher, and I think she's off today, and I bet she would love to help. And so Carly called Whitney, and Whitney said, yeah, I'd love to, and came up. The two of them went through, made a list of things that they felt like were needed to add to the baskets to make them abundant, and went to Walmart and picked stuff up and brought it back, and then Carly, and then we found baskets, and then Whitney and Carly put them together, and they were beautiful.
And Kathy Humphreys did something too. I think, I was told.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Hi, Kathy and Jim. Kathy and Jim joined the church during this, and so we haven't fully had the chance to get to know them either.
That's
during
true.
This time. Kathy also volunteered to bring additional stuff.
She went and got some stuff.
She went and got stuff too. And again, when that was all put together, it was beautiful.
It was way more than what I ever imagined.
Yeah. And so God is continuing to bless us and entrust us with gifts that God intends for us to use to help God build the kind of world that God wants us to have together. Amen?
Amen.
What do we need people to know before we go? How far past our time have we gone? Pretty far.
What is time these days?
It's a fair question. Here's the main thing that I'm aware of today. So we haven't fully publicized this, I think, because there were questions about timing and when this was going to be. We have lots of small groups in place this month. Lots of new ways to get involved. We can talk about that in a minute. I think a few of those are coming up over the next couple days. But the main thing I want people to know about is that the summer ministry team actually worked to prepare a ministry opportunity that is now coming to fruition in September. We're going to have 5 special Wednesday evening celebrations, opportunities. We have invited 5 people whom we know and love in various ways, at various levels. Disciples ministers in North Texas, all of whom are people of color, all of whom have important stories to tell and have powerful voices that we need to hear. And Deshae is one of those, and we'll be bringing it home in week 5, right?
Yes.
And then,
Finale.
right, in the meantime, the 4 people I think the other 4 people we'll be hearing from are KJ Kim, who is minister of First Christian Church in Stephenville, just down the road here. We're going to hear from Brandon Wright, and these are not in order, but Brandon Wright, who is minister First Christian Church of Cleburne, which is just up the road the other direction here, sister congregations of ours. And then we are also going to hear from Verzola Law, who is minister at Northway Christian Church in Dallas, and very excited about that. And we're going to hear from Hector Morales, who is one of our regional ministers, part of our regional staff. And so I'm excited about this. And the way that this is going to manifest, they are recording sermons for us. And that it's going to look different for each person, right, what that means. But we will offer those online at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock today, we'll be hearing from KJ Kim. KJ was in this room, actually, standing right about here, recording this piece with Heath a couple days ago and sharing his heart. KJ has an abundant joy that I would love for you to experience. So if you can tune in at 6 o'clock, you'll be able to see that. And then at the end of that piece, we're going to transition into, is it a Zoom call, or what are we using for that? We will have a link.
On our Facebook page, is that right, Heath?
I think there's going to be a link available at the end of the sermon,
Yes.
okay, so that you'll be able to follow through. And you'll have the opportunity to, ask questions of KJ through the type feature, the text feature in that.
Right here, at the Facebook, he says, thumbs up. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
You already know how to get here. Good job.
Very good. So that you can interact with KJ and ask questions about his story and his journey. So looking forward to that. Hope you'll join us for that tonight. What are the other things coming up this week? We were going to have a labyrinth walk this morning. It was very rainy.
Yes, it was very rainy. Tomorrow we have no, that's not true. It starts next week. Book group, book study on the Enneagram,
Yes.
which I'll be leading. It's a deep dive into a very old Christian-focused sort of personality indicator. Think Myers-Briggs times 100.
It's fun.
A look at what motivates us.
If you're a 2, make sure you send me an email so that way I know we can be fellow 2s together.
That will all make sense if you come to the class.
And you're going to be in pain when you figure it out. That's why.
Oh, the number you are, you never think you are. You
Never.
don't want to be it.
And I sure didn't. Deny it.
There are 2 things going on Friday that I know of. We have
Yes.
Friday morning, there is a kayaking group, assuming this is going to be probably another weather permitting
Sure.
kind of thing, right? But Josh and Emily Newby are facilitating that, and that group will meet in Indian Harbor. Josh, and I know that's a private community. They're making the call so that everybody can come in. And I think specific information for all of these groups and for this one in particular are there on our website, fccgranbury.org, and you click small groups and you can find information about times, places, facilitators. If you have questions, you can reach out, in this case, to Josh and Emily and ask about that. We might have a couple extra kayaks in the community, so that even if you don't have one and if you'd like to go, let us know. I think that's happening 8 o'clock Friday morning. What's happening Friday evening?
6 o'clock Friday evening, we are going to meet out here on the back lawn at the church and play some backyard games. Cornhole, bags, and can jam. If you want to take Justin and I on can jam, I wouldn't advise it, but I'll be here. So bring your favorite backyard game. We're just going to hang out on the back lawn out here and have a good evening. Maybe end it with a tournament.
Ooh,
We'll
sounds
see.
fun.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
I would say there are plenty of options for people who would prefer or can only participate virtually. So if you are even in another state, you might be able to join us for several of those if you'd like.
We have 2 new Bible studies that we're launching. We've continued to have some. So Russell has continued to teach the Disciples class and is looking right now at format of that and ways to maybe make that in person. Even then, it could probably be recorded so that you could participate online if you'd like to. But 2 new Bible studies, one of which will be in person, facilitated by David and Sally Timmons. And that is beginning, I think it's going to be Tuesdays at 3, and I think next week is the first one of those. And we have another Bible study that's going to be online, and that is facilitated by one Jordan Staggs.
I know her.
Austin
She's
knows
pretty
her.
great.
She's pretty great. And that one meets online
Thursday mornings at 8.
Thursdays at 8 a.m.
So if you're an early morning person,
That
that's the one
might
to
not
go.
be for you.
I'm going to put my rollers in. It'll be fine. I might come out in a moo-moo, but it's fine. God still loves me.
Please.
Maybe that should be required attire. Momo and
Yes.
curlers.
It's just like, come up with my coffee.
I like it. I'm in.
That reminds me of the question of name of this group, which we still haven't settled on. We weren't really clear last week about how to submit suggestions.
That's true.
Were we? So we didn't get any additional suggestions that I know of.
The name of this?
Okay, one more story. Here, yeah. This story comes out of a meeting this week. Carol Wright. Carol, if you're watching, we love you. Carol, there is a depth of spirit about Carol that is rare. And we have a group of people right now in this congregation that's working on a vision statement, a new vision statement for this congregation, out of which will come new strategies and ways of doing ministry. Right? We need a sense of kind of where we as a church see ourselves to be headed, and we know that God will change that and evolve that as we go. But it's good to have a vision, right? God plants vision and calls us toward it, and then grows us and changes us in the midst of that journey. So Carol, we were talking about themes. What are some of the things that we would want to see reflected in a vision statement like that? And Carol said, she said, one of my hopes for myself, she says, and for all of us, is that we would be, so full of the Spirit. And then she paused to say something else, and she said, so full of it that we wouldn't be able to help but share it. And then she said, I mean the Spirit. The Spirit, full of the Spirit.
Yep.
I wondered about full of it, parentheses, the Spirit.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I like that.
This is the name of
And
this
other
group now.
things.
Full of it. Honestly, I feel it's going to grow.
Just mine. We'll
There's
see
a lot
if
of
that,
potential
we'll see if that
It
takes
is.
root. If not, continue to send us at office@fccgranbury.org your suggestions for possible names for this group. All right. Anything else? Have we gone like an hour? We're 30 minutes over.
Something like that.
Preachers can talk. We know this.
Yes.
People also have an off button.
Right? If they
So,
don't like it, they can pause.
Pause. Thank you. Pause.
Pause.
Sometimes you have to pause in a podcast or
Sure
something
they're
and
gonna
come
come back to
back.
it. Yeah, they're going to come back to it
Fair.
probably.
They wouldn't want to miss a minute, though.
No.
Not at all.
We are interesting.
See, good use of that word.
But, okay, final one.
Fine.
We shared animal imitations.
That's right.
I had to do it twice. So,
You want an animal imitation?
y'all,
Okay, hold on.
brilliant.
That was legit.
That was good.
Remember that I taught, my degree is early childhood to 12 in music. Early childhood requires those things. The weirdest is being a pangolin. Look it up. Weird sounds.
Pangolin?
A pangolin. I did that for my VBS kids back in Canton, Missouri last year. Because my pastor and I watched something with a pangolin, and then she said, Deshay, what does a pangolin make? And I got on all fours and I made a pangolin sound. And the kids were just confused but laughed.
Hey, Jeter.
I'm a ferret.
Pick them up.
There you are. Yeah, you are.
That's all I got. That's all I got. Hey, Kenny Martin, come on up here for just a second.
A resident saint of Christian Church. Oh,
There we
with
go.
music.
Come on, Kenny.
It's Kenny time. It's Kenny time.
Time with Kenny.
Here, Kenny.
There's a seat for you.
Is it?
Yeah,
We're about to
we're not kidding.
close, and I wonder if Pastor Deshay would offer prayer. But turn around, Kenny. Face the camera.
That's on.
So you can pray with us. I wanted to celebrate you too. This is Kenny Martin, if you don't know Kenny. And Kenny, along with Rick Ricks and people like Charlie Hooper and others, are the reason why there will be a building to come back to.
Man.
Okay? They have, Kenny is our facilities manager here and has gone way above and beyond
Yep.
for a long time to help share with us the blessing of sacred space. He's given a lot of his time and his heart to this congregation, and in many ways, Kenny's also our stewardship representative, but in particular has worked really hard on this facility. And we thank you, Kenny. We love you.
We love you.
Well,
Do you happen to have an animal imitation you'd like to share?
no,
Hard no.
A hard no.
just me. That's it.
You are a unique animal. And one of the things that we love about Kenny is that he will give you exactly what you ask for. If you ask for his opinion, be ready.
All right.
That's consider yourselves warned.
Ask for what?
An opinion.
Oh, an opinion. Yeah.
You got those?
Everybody has one.
That's right.
Pastor Deshay, would you pray us out this time?
Sure. Mother in God, we give you thanks for the strength that you give us. Father in God, we give thanks for the courage you instill in us. Parent in God, we give thanks for the blended unity that you have laid upon us. God, in this time of joyousness, in this time of sorrow, in this joy of energy, God, transform us and give life in places where it needs. God, we ask that in our time together that not only you be glorified, but also the fact that your creation understand a little bit more about you through connection with us. God, it is in these things that we ask these things and ask for these blessings. Amen.
Amen.
God
Love
bless
y'all.
the church.
Bye.
Gotta get that in there.
Okay. I like it.
Are we off camera?
That is the question.